Hello, everyone. Welcome to A1 TV Entertainment. Another week, another Wednesday, and another show of Mental Health Forum. Sorry, I missed last week's show, but it went really well. I can see the comments, and then people really get involved in the topic, whatever discussed last week, and we got a wonderful guest. But anyhow, it's new year with new beginning and with new topics. Even our today's topic and our today's guest is such a lovely person, and we are going to discuss something new, which I think it's hard to discuss. Whenever I said it is something new, Kim always said that because it's now 1.5 years or more that we are doing this show, so it's just like with some new guest we are bringing something new. So before we talk about our today's show, let's welcome my co-host Kim Cullen first. Hi, Kim.
Hi, Sana. How are you, my darling?
I'm fine, thank you. Good to see you.
Thank you. I really missed you last week. We sort of puddled through without you, but we had a lovely show with Alana Sachs and talked about the Holocaust and Youth for Human Rights, which was quite fantastic.
Yes. And it went really well. Even I missed it, but anyhow, the topic we discussed, there are so many people who get involved and then they comment and all that. So Kim, what is for today? Before we talk about our today's topic and all that, you always explain the aim of the show and that why we are doing this show.
Thanks, Sana. It's really interesting because we've been doing this show for quite a while now, and our purpose hasn't changed. Our purpose is to educate the viewers and people about mental health, and so that they have informed choice and they can make own options. I found it really interesting, Sana, because I did an event on Monday night and we did a showing of our documentary Friend or Foe. And I think being on this show and being co-host with you has made it a lot easier for me to talk naturally in front of a group of people as well. And I don't need notes, and I can just tell what's happening. And of course, we've got the Mental Health Act being revised at the moment, and we really want to activate people on that. So if anyone would like to find out more about that, they can email me. I'll put my email in the chat box. So thanks,
thank
Sana.
you so much. Thank you, Kim, for always reminding the purpose or the aim of the show, and that why it's important to keep doing this kind of shows, and what is the importance of mental health in our today's life. And we are really excited for our today's guest as well. And before I invite him, our today's guest is a young man who has had an incredible journey and is alive and well to share it with us. He is a professional portrait photographer and founder of Decide Your Destiny. That really excites me as well. Decide your destiny. Because sometimes we believe that, okay, there is nothing in our hands related to your destiny. But he said, decide your destiny. So we will definitely talk about this, what this stands for, and all that. So let's welcome our guest for tonight, Kyle Spyrides. Hi, Kyle. Welcome to A1 TV Entertainment.
Hey guys. Thank you for having me. Really excited to be here.
It's really great to have you on. Look at that beautiful artwork behind Kyle.
Yes.
I'm blessed to.
A bit about that.
Yeah. Well, my lady, she does splendid art. I mean, I can't say much more, but so I'm blessed to be surrounded by beautiful art, and I guess I get to comment sometimes, and she gets to ask some questions and see what I think. And I always say that's I leave the conversation with, look, that's just my opinion, but do what you're feeling, because I think art is definitely something that comes out of you. It's something that you're connected to the process. So yeah.
Thanks a lot. And we are really excited for our today's show. Our topic for tonight is defining crazy, which is itself sounds very exciting and all that. So thanks a lot, Kim. You shared your CCHR website as well. So, Kyle, before we discuss about our today's topic, we would love to know about you, or if you can give us a little bit introduction about yourself.
Yes, for sure. So I am a professional branding photographer. So I'm a portrait photographer mainly, but I just help business owners, capture photographs that actually dive a little bit deeper. They dive into the heart and the soul of the business of why they do what they do. So, for instance, a lawyer can take a nice shot of her in front of a white background, but I ask you more questions. What are some of the things that you're doing to plug some of the issues in society that maybe don't get as much attention? And then she, as I'm asking questions and finding more about her, she reveals that she helps out with invisible homelessness, and so I investigate, okay, what's invisible homelessness? I didn't quite know what it was about. And she'll tell me, she told me that it's, females who haven't had their estate set up and now they're facing, financial hardship. And so she goes and speaks at, female homeless shelters and sort of things. So I go, great, that's what we're going to incorporate in the photographs. We're going to find a way of telling that story, because that's really what people want to see. They want to be able to look at your website, see all your graphic design and your lovely words and everything, but they want to actually connect to that photograph and see, can I really trust this person with whatever solution I need solved? So yeah, and through that passion, I've really got through that journey of photography, I've really become more and more passionate about business and business owners and understanding that whole world.
Thank
That
you.
sounds
Thanks a lot.
a fantastic way to actually take a photo, and not just to sort of randomly go, click, click, take a photo, but actually get in communication with the person and find out a little bit about them. Because I've watched a couple of your podcasts as well, Carl, and it's also like you finding the essence of the person, so it's like when you're talking to someone, sometimes there's just that blankness in front of them, right? But at some point it comes out and you can see it in their eyes and in their smile and in their face. So I think, having that ability to do that, I think it's really, really special, and I'd like to really commend you on it. That's fantastic. Yeah.
Thanks.
So I have a question for you. So Kyle, you've had, and you're only young. How old are you?
I just turned 29 on the 5th of February.
Wow.
So yeah.
You're a young man.
Spring chicken.
So what happened to you that influenced your life and what you're doing now?
Well, I love the title of today's segment, Defining Crazy, because to be honest, that is kind of my upbringing. There was a lot of craziness, and I only started to really extract. We talk about extracting, the art that's inside you and painting canvases, and then extracting the person that's in front of you to get those beautiful portraits, extracting that heart and soul. And I only recently started to extract my story when I would communicate with people and tell them, about my life, and they say, how are you normal? How are you not on drugs? How are you not this? How are you not that? And then I'd have to kind of review and go, okay, well, maybe the way that I came into these 29 years of my life wasn't as normal as everyone else. And everyone else has their own hardships and challenges. And hey, Diana, how you going? Everyone else has these challenges. And so, that I started to extract that. And basically what happened when I was very young is I had a lot of trauma. I had a lot of childhood trauma. I had a lot of, moving around. I was originally born in Johannesburg, South Africa. Then I came to Australia and lived in Ireland and France and Europe. And so I had this kind of, Noah was home sort of thing, kind of like a nomad. And and throughout my teenage years, that was obviously one of the hardest times. And that after that, I at 2 months after I finished school, I actually got really sick one night. I was coming home from the gym, and I sat on the couch. Independence Day was on the TV. I went, great, this is going to be a awesome movie. The graphics of that time, that movie was pretty good, so I tuned in, and all of a sudden I felt really, really cold. So I just chucked on all these clothes, blanket, everything, and then a split second later felt too hot, and I just chucked everything off. Next night, went to the fridge, got some water, and I collapsed on the ground, and I just laid there for 20 minutes. Long story short, I ended up about a week later in hospital, and I ended up, in front of a professor and in front of a doctor, and he just said, "Kyle, we're going to put this tube down your throat, and you're going to be put to sleep." And I was so sick because it was about a week of this incredible sickness, and yeah, I was just like, okay, yeah, sure, that sounds good. You know, when you're so sick, you just go whatever's the flow. And he put this tube down and then put me into an induced coma. And he turned to my parents, turned to my family, or my family that were present, and said, look, he's not going to make it through the night. He's most likely going to die, and whether we operate on him now or not, he's most likely going to die. But you need to give me consent. You need to tell me if it's okay for us to go and operate. And a family member called my stepfather, who was in Ireland at the time, and he's a chiropractor, been a chiropractor for his whole life, and they always trusted him with a lot of, I guess, his health decisions or guidance. And they told him the information. He said, look, you're there, you're present, you need to make the decision with the data that you have available. My personal opinion would be he's too weak to operate, but you got to make a decision. So they didn't operate, and I woke up, quite a few days later, woke up out of an induced coma. Had a bowl of Weet-Bix, threw it straight back up on my hospital gown. Nothing was going down, and then I was told that I've got this 3 centimeter bug eating a hole into my heart, and that I've got to make a decision, got to act. And I had a choice. So the family kind of waited for my stepfather to come over, and he eventually told me what was going on. He said, look, you can go and operate right now. You just have to sign this document, sign over the waiver, you can go have it done. I just want you to know that once they operate, they're actually going to cut a part of your heart out. They're going to cut part of your organ. You're going to be on these medications for the rest of your life. This is how your life's going to be impacted. You can't do this. You can't do that. You can't do this. And, I was 18 just going, what do you mean? I had visions of becoming a professional rugby player, going back to South Africa, playing for the Springboks, had all these grand visions, grand ideas. I was ready to take over the world, 18. So he said, this is, that's that route. And he said, there is another option. So I said, okay, Ward, my stepfather, the chiropractor. I said, okay, go on. And he said, there's this thing called the Alkaline Diet. And I said, what's that? And he said, well, basically what it is it's a juice fast. And the premise of it is that you do a juice fast that's high on the alkaline spectrum of food groups that you eat. You starve the body of any sugars, of any energy that is going to give this bug energy and keep sustaining this bug. So you basically starve the body of anything that's going to help support the bug. And then the idea is that the bug will die off. So for me, came out of school just knowing, what sort of foods to eat that made my muscles big for the ladies, for the beach, and for the rugby. So I didn't have a whole bunch of understanding in this realm. And then, so he went to walk out the door, and then I just called out to him and I said, look, at the end of the day, I trust you as a man. I trust, you've looked after me in my life. You've done a lot of good things by me. Let's give this alkaline thing a go. And then that started, a 6-week program of me being in hospital and going totally against the grain and just trying this thing, having vitamins, doing visualizations over my heart, learning about where the valves were, and listening to meditation tapes. My grandmother gave meditation tapes of peaks and valleys. That's what I remember. And so this whole shift of disciplined Buddhist-like activities that I had never done before. So we did that, and then long story short, again, at the 3-week mark, we found out that the bug had gone.
Wow.
And so we healed the heart naturally, which for me, that was the first moment that I really believed. I believed in the purpose and the reason, and I believed in my stepfather, but I didn't really know if this was going to work. No one really knows. Experience is your only truth. And so I went through that, and then I had that experience, and it was like, wow, okay, there's something to this. And obviously that changed the direction of my life a lot. So I came out of hospital, and I upset a few people. I came out of hospital, and I had part of my heart, part of the heart had been in and off, and so I had to spend about a year trying to heal it back. So I spoke to people about stem cell research, all this sort of stuff, and then at the end of the year, I went and decided to, I healed my heart naturally, but I've got to repair this part of the heart.
Yeah.
And as the year went along, every couple of months, I had an opportunity. It said, okay, 30% chance of repairing your heart muscle, this part of the muscle. And then it said 50% chance at about 6 months. And then so at the 12-month, there was a 70% chance of repairing it. So I said, okay, let's go in. Let's do the medical route. I've given my body the best opportunity, and let's try it out. And so I went in, and I had open heart surgery, and came out, and they repaired my valve. I woke up. I was so focused on repairing my valve that I woke up screaming. I said, "Repair or replacement, repair or replacement." And I was screaming in the ICU, and someone came over, grabbed my hand, and said, "Carl, it was a repair. It was a repair. They repaired your valve." And I just went. I started swearing and celebrating, and was so excited, and so
Wow.
that was my journey.
Wow, that's pretty
amazing
phenomenal,
journey.
hey?
Yeah. We got
Yeah.
so many viewers with us. Diana is there, Rabba Muhammad is there, Sarah is there. Thanks a lot
Hey
everyone for
guys.
joining for tonight. Even Sarah is saying, I would like to chat to you as I am into all this, but want to know more as I have just been told something wrong with my heart. And Diana is saying, thank you for sharing your journey. So thanks a lot. It's such an amazing journey. And I think this shows that you have to show patience towards something if you want to heal yourself and all that. So if
And it's also, Sana, what we say all the time, it's like it's being informed, isn't it?
yeah,
It's like, don't just take the doctor's word for it, because if you hadn't just listened to the doctors and said, well, the doctor's the expert, this is what I'm going to do, then, you'd be in a different space now. Whereas what you did was you looked at different options and then you did your own research on it as well. So,
yeah,
I think
that was very challenging.
Yeah.
To go against authority.
Yeah, absolutely. Especially doctors when they say, hey, I know what I'm talking about. I'm a doctor. Who are you? You're not even finished high school yet.
yeah.
Well, you know what? One of the doctor that was looking after me during the hospital, as I left the hospital, because at about the 5.5 week mark, I said, I can't. I'm healthy. Like, this juice cleanse has worked. I feel good. I'm ready to get going. And I just said, all right, I need to get out of here. And so I left. And as I was leaving, I was being pushed in a wheelchair out of the hospital, and this register, a lovely Somalian man, he'd been there the whole way through. So me and him just had beautiful chats, and connected well. And he just, I just felt this hand on my shoulder. I turned around and it was him. And I said, "Oh, mate, I'm going now, but it's been lovely to connect with you whilst I've been in here. To have a friend whilst I've been here." And he just said, "Look, I've just got to deliver a message. Prof just wants me to deliver a message." And he said that, "Look, your lungs are going to be full of blood. You're going to choke to death. You're going to die in your sleep within 2 months of leaving this hospital."
Oh,
He
my
didn't listen to
God.
us. So I just started tearing up. I broke down, and the person pushing the wheelchair said, "Just get me the hell out of here." It wasn't easy. I had nurses trying to throw my vitamins into the bin, saying, "What do I think I'm doing? Who do I think I am?" And for me, I had my blinders on of what the world was, going to school, going through all the process. I did not know that there would be this other side. And if I decide my destiny for my health, that there would be this whole other side against me. And it was very, very full on. It was very, I guess, heartbreaking in a way, but it was a big wake up call as well, that, okay, no one's going to look after me like me.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I think this kind of positivity is also required, that you have to stay positive and believe on yourself. Sometimes we believe others, and as even you mentioned, and the Kim just said before, that we always believe on others. Just like, okay, doctors, they are doing their best, no doubt on it. But again, you need to do some sort of research for yourself as well. Like Sarah said, that doctors don't always know, because they are on a time limited to their rush, and they have other things to do. That is what Sarah, I think, trying to say. And Diana said that we would love to see you on this panel again. And yes, why not?
Thank you. Well,
Sarah.
just quickly, I wanted to say that, at the end of the day, I'm not bashing one side or the other. I actually I went the natural health route, And then eventually I had surgery done so that I could repair my heart. Because in that interim, I was, speaking to a professor in Germany who was doing stem cell research, but just couldn't create heart valves at the time. So I was trying my best, but I eventually went down the medical route. And
To the medical,
I think
yeah.
there needs to be a combination. There needs to be a coming
Oh,
together.
absolutely.
There's such a divide in our world at the time, this
Yeah.
side versus that side, this one versus
side,
that
yeah.
one. We need to stop that nonsense, cut the crap with that, and actually see where we can come together and bring our resources together. Any sort of development or learning or, it takes people coming together and bringing their own resources and building something from that. So that's what I think the world really needs a lot of.
Yeah.
Absolutely. We agree. It's what we talk about all the time. Okay, Sana, have you got a question here for Kyle?
Yeah, so Kyle, like just moving forward, my next question is, what message can you share with others to help them get a better understanding of what their destiny is?
Know thyself. That would be the message. It's really it's something that you kind of you won't go and do because you'll either look to other people or you've been told who you are. You have friends, you have relationships, you have teachers, parents who tell you who you are. And so it's not something natural that you would just go, okay, let me go, to a Buddhist monastery and sit in a room for hours on end and know myself. So it's not something that we will naturally just go and do. But I think it's something that's so important. If you want to know where you're going, you need to know who you are. You need to know who you are, and you need to look at your past. For me, a lot of people might you might look at some of your past and go, oh, there's a lot of mistakes, there's a lot of things there. I don't want to look at. I don't even want to look at it. But you need to look at it. You need to look at it because it's a part of you. It's a part of where you're going to go and head. There's a great quote. There's something about joining the dots, looking backwards. So you really need to see if you want to look where you're going to go. You can look back at your recent history, and then you can go, okay, wait a minute. I need to get rid of these 5 negative habits if I want to go in this different direction. And I need to replace those negative habits with these 5 positive habits. So knowing yourself is such an important thing. And also making your own decisions in your own life, becoming the authority over your own life is what it requires is for you to really know yourself. People know more about their sports team. They know more about so many different things than they know about themselves, which is why I was the exact same,
Yeah, awesome.
Yeah.
Thanks,
Totally.
Cole. Okay, so I watched one of your podcasts called Defining Crazy, right? And, this is definitely, we talk about this issue on the show all the time because it's mental health forum, right? And people, are called crazy or they've been diagnosed with something. And anyway, so we have a situation in Australia. We've got 4.4 million Australians on psychiatric drugs. And it's
one in
for a
5.
huge range of mental disorders, right down to little kids, it's pretty horrendous. So basically, so what would be your recommendations to the viewers watching, if they feel like they're crazy, and what should they do about it? That's a big question to ask, I reckon.
Yeah.
Give us
It is. And
the
look, I can only invite you to what I do and what works for me. It's cutting the noise. There's so much noise. There's so much noise in our world. There's so much noise constantly, and we have so much information. It's amazing. We can go and listen to all sorts of people. We can go and connect, and there's different ways. It's not, people are coming out and having their own sort of way of having dialogue and long form dialogue, where before it used to be very monitored and managed, and you could only speak on these certain things. So the world is changing, and it's great. I'm a big fan of podcasts because of the value they have. They're not a 5-second segment that angers people. They're a long discussion that actually dives deep into the human element. So cut the noise. There's so much noise, so many people telling you, I think, to be honest, we all have a little crazy in us. You've got to have a little crazy in us. You look at life, you look at what we have to face, you look at what we have to overcome. You look at all the different intricate details. You look at different elements of betrayal and all these different sort of things. Like, of course, there's a little bit of crazy, but sometimes you actually have to lean into that. Sometimes you have to lean into those elements that actually have you out of the box a little bit. So I got called extra. I've got this extra way about me, or I'm very extra with the way that I communicate, or whatever. So I went, okay, great. Let me lean into that, because there's some energy there. That's something that actually it's grabbing their attention, and they're gravitating to that. And we're very quick to jump to assign a negative trait to something that sticks out about us, because we want to fit in. And that's going back caveman times, where we want to fit in because we don't want to be excluded from the tribe, because we want to be able to eat some of the carcass or whatever it is.
Yeah.
So I understand the importance, and we've got so many things that are deep into our psychology that we're evolving at such a speed, our world around us, but our brain, the things that who we are, is so old. It's so old, and we've been doing things certain ways. So obviously you want that social approval, but at the end of the day, when you're sitting on that deathbed, or you're about to pass on from this world, very intense sort of vision to capture. Are you gonna care about what everyone said about you? Are you gonna care how people labeled you? Are you gonna care what people thought about you without giving you a chance? And also, I think if you're called these things, just go and review the relationship with the person. So, for instance, like if a segment or a channel or something calls you crazy because of something that happened, but your friends aren't calling you crazy, where's the relationship? This person's looking for clickbait. This person's looking for other things. They're not necessarily working in your best interest. So really observe the relationship of whoever's calling you crazy. That would be my, I guess, long-winded answer.
Wow. I wish I had have had that when I was your age. I think, it's sort of, for most people, we don't tend to get that sort of viewpoint until we get older. And I think perhaps you going through that life-changing situation of nearly dying as a very young man may have helped you come to that realization earlier. But I know a lot of people, it takes quite a while in their development to realize that, it really doesn't matter what people think about you or what they say about you. It's ultimately what you feel and within yourself that you do, and you're doing the right thing. So I think that's, a very amazing lesson. Listen, we're almost out of time, and we still had a lot to talk about. We always do this. Sorry. We always do this.
You
got me too passionate. I'm sorry.
We love to invite our guests again and again. So this is our strategy.
I like it. I like it. Smart.
That's what we do. We stretch it out, and then we go, all right, we need to come back on again.
Yeah.
Yes.
So we'll be looking at that. Definitely. Yeah. So, Sana, do you want to go through some of the comments that people had? And if anyone got any questions for Kyle, now's the time to put it in, guys, because and Sarah, just to let you know, I'll definitely send Kyle your number, and you can, or I'll send you his number, and you can email him. Yeah. Right. You can have a chat to him about that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Awesome.
So, Sarah, you got your answer as well. So we got Rabba. Rabba said, thank you so much for sharing your life story. Plus, Diana really wants to know, Kyle, I would love to know how your heart is doing now. And do you have any medications that you still have to take, or natural things you do to help your heart? So,
I'll really try and shorten this answer. So since my operation, since I got sick, I had an ejection fraction of 34%. And 34% is not very good. If you get any lower, you can't actually get on airplanes. It's touch and go. Normal people's hearts, ejection fractions at 55 to 65%. And so in 10 years, it hadn't changed. And I was coming up, and I was seeing my cardiologist, electrosurgeon, all these different specialists, which I have seen my whole life. Obviously, it's matters of the heart, and I've been very careful and conscious and taken in everyone's advice. Or the right advice. So my ejection fraction hadn't changed. And so the electrosurgeon suggested a procedure. And then he suggested also a stockpile of medications and all these sorts of things. And to be honest, I hadn't had a good reaction with the medications that I'd been on. And what I would do is I would have them for a year or a while. I'd go back, have multiple tests, see if anything changed. Nothing changed. And then I'd come off them. The reason I would come off them is because these medications would make me fall asleep in the middle of the day. They would make me dizzy and fall over every time I got up. They were the lowest dose that he could give me, but for some reason, how it affected with my chemical creation of my body just didn't work. So I was facing all of this, and it was just the start of 2020. So my family said, aren't you worried about, this virus and your heart and all this sort of stuff? And so I went, okay, I really need to start taking control back of my life. And I went on this program for about 6 months. I just made it up. I just went for a jog every single morning. I juiced. I did, a bunch of vitamins, great sort of things that are good for the heart, hawthorn berry, pomegranate, CoQ10, all these different sort of things that are great for the heart. And I did meditations and everything, and I just kept like that sort of intention on healing the heart. I went back to the electrosurgeon 6 months later when we were about to do the procedure, and he was about to give me another stockpile of drugs. And he said to me, he sat down, we did the test, he sat down, he said, he goes, I don't know what to do with you. I said, what? He said, oh, I just don't know what to do with you, these tests. And I said, oh, what do you mean? And I was getting concerned. He said, your ejection fraction has gone from 34% to 49%. He said, your heart is enjoying being in atrial fibrillation, which only happens with 5% of people straight after surgery. Your heart's actually gotten stronger somehow in the previous time. I don't know what to do with you. And he sat there for a little while. And he said he didn't know what way to go. He said, look, I'll book you in for the procedure, and also I'll write you like 6 more scripts, and we'll just hit you with everything. And then so I walked out of there. You can believe where my mind is with my perspective. But I walked out of there so it's in such a psychosis, in such a daze. I walked to the pharmacist, and I was there, and I was about to go and I guess score my scripts, about to go and get my drugs. And I had this moment. It was just this pure as day moment, this kind of message come through the roof of the building. And I felt it was God communicating to me. And it just said, a question, what are you doing? I was like, what? I was like, what? What's going on with this voice in my head? I said, what are you doing? You know what to do with your life. You know what to do with your heart. What are you doing in here? Get out of here. Yeah. And I turned and I walked out the front door, and I haven't looked back, and I obviously go and get an echocardiogram. Thank you. Yeah, I obviously go back and get an echocardiogram, which is better than an ECG. Echocardiogram really actually, it's like an ultrasound for your heart. So I get that frequently, and I obviously, I'm very conscious and considerate of my heart health, but I'm taking more of the power back into myself.
Yeah.
Awesome.
That's good.
Wow.
Yeah, Diana said wow, and we have no other words except wow. What an amazing story. And now I think you are more expert than any heart surgeon and all that, isn't it?
Yeah, that's
Knows
right.
everything. Okay, this is the alternate for this. This is an alternate for this. So you got, and that is what, if you are going through something, you did everything to to just believe on yourself, and that is, now I can understand why the podcast is destiny is in your hands and all that.
Yeah.
So
very empowering. Thanks,
yeah.
Kyle. Thank you so much for coming on tonight. We're going to end off now. You've got Diana crying.
Yeah.
Oh, no.
She said, I'm crying for
happiness.
choosing yourself and hearing that voice of God speaking to you.
Beautiful. And she's asked for your podcast details, so I'll give those to her as well, okay?
Yeah.
Awesome. And that's all you need. You need that voice. That's all you need.
Yeah.
Sorry, say that again?
Now, I said if you can share your podcast details here.
Well,
then,
what is it, Kyle? Kyle?
So it's Decide Your Destiny on YouTube. I can pop it in right now.
Okay, good.
That's fine.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for having me on, guys.
It's such an amazing story. Any last words or any message for our viewers?
So there's the podcast. Well, I guess a lot has been said, a lot of great questions. And what I would say is that voice that Diana was talking about, keep listening to that voice. There's so many voices we can hear. There's so many different people that will tell us how to live, but won't step into our shoes and live the life themselves. So I'm not saying one side or the other. I'm not saying you must do what I did, I actually use both sides. I use both sides of the coin, and there's always going to be different directions you can take in your path along as you decide your destiny. And I believe the more time you spend that you bring power back into yourself, you bring power back to yourself. You go, there's a beautiful quote by Epictetus. It's pretty intense, but it says, you are, it says something along the lines of, you are a corpse carrying around a soul. You're a corpse carrying around a little soul. It's very intense, but it got me thinking about the soul. It got me thinking about, not being chained to other people's opinion, not being chained to the physical realm, not being chained to the decisions of others, and actually realizing I'm a soul that's eternal, and I need to be making decisions that's in the integrity of that soul in this lifetime, so that wherever I decide to go on to, I'm not compromising my soul. And that's what's the priority number one. And then everything else, but this person said that person doesn't like you because of this, comes down below that priority. So yeah.
Thank you.
Thanks,
Baba
Kyle.
said, God bless you all. And Diana said, thank you, Sana, Kim, and Kyle. So thanks a lot, Kyle, once again, for being on our show and sharing such an amazing story with us. I hope so. It's such an eye-opener for so many others as well. And it's a little bit like sometimes people are very hopeless from their whatever the situation they are going through. I think you are a living example for others as well, that if you can do it, others can do as well.
Definitely,
So
definitely.
thanks a lot.
Thanks, Kyle. We'll talk again.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you, guys.
Thank you. And now it's over to you, Kim. You always share some sort of message or anything like that.
Yes, Sana, wasn't that amazing? How empowering, right? And it's just really, I just want to give everyone the message that if you are on a psychiatric drug, don't just stop taking that drug. You need to actually get weaned off it gradually, because going off these psychiatric drugs can be very dangerous. And I think not just psychiatric drugs, I think that's with any drug. You really need to get a competent medical doctor to help you on that. And that's what we're telling you. And if you have a story that you'd like to tell, or if you'd like to share or be on our show, because we're going to have more survivor stories as well this year. If you'd like to email me, I'll put my email straight into that chat box. That's all I've got to say, Sana. We're well over time. Thank you so much. And thank you, A1 TV Media.
Thank you so much. It's such an amazing story, such an amazing show tonight. And I think, like me, every other person can also learn so many things. And in the end, I just want to say that, okay, wherever you are, just look after yourself. And I will end with the name of the podcast, Decide Your Destiny. So take control of your destiny. If Kyle can do that, anyone can do that. Till then, keep watching and keep supporting A1 TV. Thank you. Bye-bye. Good night.
Good night.